Hello, I'm Tony, and this is something to consider. I don't have much for you today, truth being told. I had given this a lot of thought, and the past few days have just been kind of strange. Family got some bad news about a close family friend, and between that, going through all the content last week, and some stuff I got to do later on today, you know what, I'm gonna keep it fairly simple for y'all. Right now I'm outside because I'm watching my dogs while the rest of my family is away, and I figured I could do this out here and give them a chance to run around and stuff a bit. But here's something that did happen this week. E3, if you're a fan of video games, you are probably aware of that. Sorry, there's my dog bumping the tripod. Come here. Come here. Stop eating grass. Anyway, and E3 was fantastic this year, actually. As a fan of video games and stuff like that, it's been a while since it's been a year this impressive, besides last year with Nintendo. On that note, I feel that EA keeps really dropping the ball with these things. You gotta remember, there's been this recent push recently in the video game industry to start treating these things as services, but to such an extent that it becomes all about just making money from the consumers of these video game products and not really trying to advance the art or the narratives or any of that more subjective stuff. And I think that's important because when it comes to video games, services, entertainment services, yes, they are that, but people also come to video games to be amazed by interactive content. And if all you're trying to do is sell people a service, and on top of that, because you're selling them a service that they keep on coming back to, if you start rewarding systems that play on habitual things that people do, like the loot box craze that we had recently, is an example of a mechanic that kind of got pushed to the top because of this games and services model that really ruined a lot of games for a lot of people. But I can think of lots of weird arbitrary awards, achievements, stuff like that. These things start to pop up in places where they don't belong in these games, and it takes away from the experience of, well, just experiencing a story. But anyway, that's a lot of harping on EA, and it's very not specific. They've just released a lot of games recently that are very samey. I mean, they're different games, but the mechanics of the games are fairly the same, and the stories and stuff like that, it just hasn't been anything too new, too amazing. I'll link some folks in the description who describe this EA, who followed it much more than I did. Digital Foundry, in particular, is great about that. This E3, I should say. But, not ragging on EA, Microsoft did fantastic with their new Halo Infinite, among others. Cyberpunk 2077 finally got revealed. That is a game that is amazing. That is a game that is bringing new things and new themes to the table. Sony had a weird presentation, but they were putting out good games too. Nintendo kind of seems like they're treading water. But that's okay, because they were knocking things out of the park last year, and they really just got done dragging themselves out of a hole. So I'll give them the pass. On top of that, if you're a Smash fan, like I am, I mean, geez, talk about amazing people, not necessarily with something new. Coming out and saying, okay, every single character that has ever been in Smash Brothers, you're going to be able to play with in this game. Yes. And not charging people more necessarily. I haven't made sure, and there's a chance Nintendo might, but hopefully not charging people much more for those kinds of things and making it like a grindy, painful experience to get these characters. That's what I was kind of talking about, the games and service thing. Anyway, this isn't just about games. It's been a weird week, as I mentioned earlier, and well, damn, long story short, I found out that a close family friend has cancer. And it's not my story to tell, it's not my news to share, but it was abrupt, and it's cancer. So, don't take life for granted. I know it's like such a weird, not even a weird thing, but like a cliche thing, but it's just, for those of you who are familiar with things like this, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. Every once in a while, it's happened a few times in my life where people close to me have, come down with some tough stuff. And when it happens, it often just comes out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden, all the other problems that you had, they don't necessarily fade away. Some of them are amplified. Talk about things like insurance and stuff like that in this country. But yeah, your health. At the end of the day, your body's a complex machine. And like with any complex machine, like, geez, have you ever owned a car or something like that before, stuff can go wrong. And sometimes the things that go wrong are straightforward to fix. Sometimes they're not, but still fixable. Sometimes they're catastrophic. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Anyway, I'm already rambling a bit, but take care of yourself if you can. Exercise if you're young and your joints are good and stuff like that. Eat healthy if you can, again, to the extent that you're able to will yourself to with whatever you've got going on. But just don't take the good times. Don't take everything working well for granted. And not like something's just going to come down and smite you someday. There's, it's not really great to be scared of that. But just remember, your body's a complicated machine. And things can go wrong. And sometimes they do. And sometimes when they do, like they go really wrong. And it's total. At least it can be. Besides that, a couple channel updates. Last week was the last big long story short. Working on the next one. There's a chance it's going to be one of two things. And by this time next week, I'll know which one it's going to be. Sorry, this one was a little bit strange. It's just been, I totally knew what I was going to talk about come like Wednesday, and then, E3 was really cool. There was some stuff in the family, and my brain is just scattered right now. Plus, last week talked about some really cool stuff. So do check that out if you're looking for more of that kind of content. Anyway, my dogs are starting to get too distracted, so I'm going to go let them in. Again, thank you for watching, those of you who stop by for these little vlogs every week. Hope you enjoyed last week's content. I hope you enjoy next week's, whatever it is. I'm Tony. Oh, yeah, also sorry if the audio is weird. I'm just doing this with a shotgun mic. This has been something to consider. Have a nice weekend.